Good morning. I'm Kristen Folletti, and welcome to News Desk on SiliconANGLE TV for Tuesday, April 2nd, 2013. Since our last report, has Windows 8 shown any more promise? Join us now to check in on Windows 8's progress is founder and managing consultant of the 1610 Group, Scott Lowe. Good morning, Scott. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
The first quarter of 2013 is already over, and now the latest market share data from Net Applications reveals how Windows 8 has fared thus far. So, Scott, what was estimated to be March's Windows 8 market share, and what can you tell us in regards to the trend on its uptake?
Market share for Windows 8 in March was not very good. It's estimated to be at 3.17, just under 3.2% of the market in March. And the uptake is dwindling, unfortunately. It's leveled off at just 19% month over month, which is not good news for Microsoft, considering they've only got 3% of the market with this operating system. Windows as a whole still enjoys over 91% of the market for the desktop OS market space. But unfortunately, Windows 8's been pretty poor. Initially, we were seeing almost 60% uptake month over month and 31% in the first couple of months, but it's really dropped off pretty significantly, especially when you compare it to Windows 7 at this point, which was at almost 12% of the market after just 5 months of release.
Why don't you think the Surface has helped to improve Windows 8's prospects?
Microsoft with the Surface, there's some market confusion still around the two models of the Surface Pro and Surface RT. Although if you go to Best Buy, or something like that, they're always out of stock. I'm not sure if that's just the artificial supply and demand, but there doesn't seem to be very good uptake on the Surface. Initially, it seemed like there was going to be a lot of uptake with how much press the product was getting, but it doesn't seem like that's really helped Microsoft as far as Windows 8 sales go very much, especially in the tablet space.
So do you think Windows RT is more at fault there?
Yeah, I think Microsoft has created some major confusion in the market space with this release of Windows RT. People don't know what it is. They hear the Windows name and they assume I can run my Windows programs on it. But that's not true. The Windows RT operating system does not run your traditional Windows x86 apps. And I think that's created some confusion in the marketplace, and Microsoft may have done itself a disservice.
Windows XP and Windows 7 still command 39% and 44% shares respectively, which is still a major portion of the Windows desktop market. What steps is Microsoft taking to get organizations off of Windows XP and 7?
Well, Windows XP is practically end of life. Windows 7 will go end of life at some point. But, Microsoft is really trying to get people to move to Windows 8, and they're working on a new version of Windows, what they're calling Blue right now, which is going to be more akin to what Mac does with OS X, which is go to an annual update mechanism and really do away with these monolithic release cycles. That's supposed to come out, the initial version, sometime this summer, later this year. There was a version that was released into beta earlier, not into beta, but it was leaked this last week. That had a couple of screenshots. We'll see what happens with Windows Blue. Microsoft has also added 7-inch tablet support or is working on 7-inch tablet support in the product. And they're also doing a developer push to add apps to so that people will write applications for the operating system. That's one of the big problems with Windows right now, is that the ecosystem doesn't match anything that's out there right now.
And we've certainly been reporting on Windows Blue as well as the leaks that recently were exposed. What do you think Microsoft needs to do for Blue to improve adoption numbers?
They've got to get a consistent user experience. One of the big problems right now with Windows 8 is it's just inconsistent. It's very confusing to use. I've been in the IT field for 20 years, and I had trouble using Windows 8 at the beginning. I'm okay with it now, but if I was a new user coming into Windows 8, it'd be a pretty jarring experience. Even something as simple as closing what used to be called a Metro app, which is now called a Modern app, is not intuitive in any way, shape, or form. And for all the lamenting that people have done about the removal of the Start button, it's actually still there. Microsoft has just decided they're going to move it. to a new location. And so, but they didn't tell anybody. They just moved it and said, we removed the start button. So there's a lot of confusion around how to use this operating system. And I don't think that's really helped people at all.
Scott, what's your personal view of Windows 8? Would you recommend it to a friend, or is there a specific Windows OS that you prefer?
You know, my parents actually called me this week and asked about whether or not they should go with a Windows 8 laptop or stick with Windows 7. And, you know, my parents are smart people, but I just couldn't see them using Windows 8. So I recommended they stick with their Windows 7 system for now until Microsoft gets the Windows 8 user experience to a point where it's more intuitive and more what people have come to expect from the Windows operating system.
So at this point, is it that Windows 8 is just not as refined? The user experience isn't what it should be, in your opinion?
It is not. Basically, if you look at the Windows 8 operating system, there's two very different user experiences. One is the traditional desktop-based paradigm, and the second is this new Metro UI that they worked so hard to push on the people. And unfortunately, they didn't quite move everything into Metro. So there's still cases where you're basically having to move back and forth between the two user experiences and try in order to be able to accomplish a goal. A lot of this has to do with things like system settings, basic stuff people need to do every day. And they end up being forced back and forth between these two pretty jarringly different user experiences.
Scott, how is Microsoft doing in the enterprise? Have they been seeing any success there?
They're still having some trouble with uptake in the enterprise with this operating system as well. There's a lot of organizations that are looking at just sticking with Windows 7. It's a tried and true operating system. You know, in the enterprise, there needs to be a business justification for moving to Windows 8 or moving to a new operating system. And I just don't think a lot of people have seen the return on investment that they would like to see in order to move ahead with a new operating system.
We touched on Windows Future venture, Windows Blue. What's the current outlook for Microsoft's future with Blue?
If they can get it right, I think they'll do okay. But they've got to fix the user experience. I think that's the first and foremost thing that they've got to have on their mind when they move forward with this next version of Windows is getting the user experience right, making sure it's consistent, making sure that they have something a little bit more intuitive in place so that people can actually use the operating system.
Now, with the launch of Blue, what does that mean for the Surface Pro and Windows RT? How are those all going to work together, or will they?
You would hope that Microsoft would enable an upgrade path from Windows 8 to Windows Blue, especially on the RT. Hopefully, if they, again, assuming that they can hit a home run with Windows Blue, that seems like it would help. I'm sorry, I'm thinking the Surface Pro. There's been talk about the Windows RT line being merged into Windows 8 as part of the operating system. I'm not exactly sure how well that would work out because basically RT is just a subset of Windows 8 as it stands right now. But one would hope that as they move forward and they integrate this product deeper with, they fixed, like I said, fixed user experience and correct some of the issues, that even some of the products that they've been selling around Windows 8, like the Surface RT and the Surface Pro, would do better. But they've got to do a better job marketing the differences between Windows RT and the full Windows 8. Even if they don't merge them together in the Windows Blue line, they've got to figure out a way to differentiate these products.
Well, Scott, we certainly appreciate you taking the time with us this morning. Thanks so much for your analysis today.
Thank you.
And coming up on SiliconANGLE TV, Amazon is hiring for a top secret project. And could your future mobile device come equipped with a kill switch? SiliconANGLE contributing editor John Casaretto joins us next to explain more.